Hello, and welcome to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show podcast with Astrologer Shelley Overton. Hi everyone, it's Shelley. Just want to say, hey, welcome to the podcast. Have patience with me still. You are listening to the AstroEnergy Astrology podcast. It is May 13th, 2020, and we are about 81 degrees here in Orlando. So welcome. Whoa, sorry about that. I've got my little laptop, my daughter's laptop. It's an awesome laptop too. Thank you, by the way. Yeah, I've got a lot of things to talk about, and this podcast we are talking about a universe of yes. So hang on one second. Sorry about that. I don't know why that does that. There we go. Okay, sorry, I have my whole vlog or video set up on muting participants as they enter, and I somehow am not doing that. So I apologize for anyone entering to watch this. Hey, Josette. Yeah, so we are going to be talking about a universe of yes, and that's a little different than just astrology. So I wanted to touch on this because it's something I've been thinking about a lot this week. Anyway, so universe of yes. Universes, oh, hi. We're gonna also, sorry, we're not having video, let's see. Yeah, we don't need video for this, so we're just gonna have me today. I like having people watch, but I'm not really good with interacting with other videos yet, so we're gonna just keep it on audio. Anyway, so and Josette, if you want to ask a question, you can ask it in the chat room. I just want to let you know that. So a universe of yes is based on the principle that there are infinite possibilities in the universe of how things can happen. And definitely astrology interacts with that. And astrology is kind of a key in my life, along with Buddhism, which my friend Josette, who just popped in, also knows about. But a universe of yes is the concept that we have one-lane roads in the universe. The universe, when we think about what we want, when we set intentions in the universe, we have a one-way road. In other words, whatever you want, as soon as you say, I don't want something, the universe doesn't understand that. It understands yes. It doesn't understand no. So when you resist against things or say, no, I don't want that, the universe still brings more of it because it is a law of attraction in the universe, which is karma. We bring in what we may not want, the more we resist it. And when we say no, the universe recognizes our resistance as a focus. So instead of seeing what we don't want, we have to shift our minds to what we do want, which is a mindset of yes. So anything that we can think of in the universe on what's going on, as soon as we resist it, we enhance it. In anything, weather, interactions with other people, politics, because in a universe of yes, there are infinite realities that we are constantly shifting between. We are the point of the attraction. So that makes external energies really a reflection of us, which is a key core of Buddhism. So in astrology, this works to whatever is coming into our lives, it becomes a lesson. And we can attract things through the planetary energies that affect us every day. And the way we get through them is to focus on the positive side of things, to the yes, not the resistance, because the universe isn't understanding the resistance. It's understanding the forward motion. And so if you can start to practice saying yes, or If the universe is a universe of just yes, then what are you going to do about that? You know, you don't want to say yes to things you don't want, right? So you have to find in that situation, what is the yes point? What is it that you do want, not what you don't want? And definitely in this situation of pandemic and isolation, we may or may not feel good about where we're at. We may or may not get along with the people we are with. And we may want something completely different from what we're getting. Then we have to focus on the positive side of it, not the negative. So we can't say, I'm tired of this, I want it to be over. We can say, wow, this is a great opportunity for me to do something that I truly do want to do and haven't really had time for. It's an indefinite amount of time to go towards that. Instead of saying, I can't get out and make my business the way it needs to be, you can find new ways of using the internet to make that business how you want it to be. And yeah, not everything can be that way. I think of the thing that came to mind was landscaping and, doing yard work. But of course, those types of things we can do for the most part. If you have to do landscape design, you can do it over Zoom. If you want to do it in person, chances are that you can distance yourself enough from the client to do it. So finding ways of doing what we're interested in, or moving ourselves from an I don't want this, I don't want that, to yes, I do want this, can really help move and shift our energies in this time. So I'm just going to move this over a little bit, probably out a little bit because I need to move my chair. And we've got some astrology to talk about too, just so you're not thinking it's going to be all existential. We are going to talk astrology. And last night, I've got a very awkward setup here, so I'm hoping I can get it all together. Anyway, again, we're still in this week. This is the week of May 11th through the 17th. It is one of the biggest weeks of the year because 3 planets move retrograde and 2 move into new signs. Today is Wednesday the 13th, which means overnight last night, Venus went retrograde, and she did it over 2 or 3 time zones. She shifted over 2 days because she was in the planet changed signs during the middle of the night. And so at 11:45 p.m. Pacific, she went in retrograde motion, which means she appears to be moving backwards from our perspective on Earth. And at, let's see, that would make it, well, it's not telling me. Okay. Yeah, it isn't translating the time. So 11:45 p.m. Pacific would be 8:45 p.m. Eastern. So that was last night here, and then last bits of time before the day changed over in the Pacific coast. But Mars went into Pisces at 12:17 a.m. Eastern, so that's 9:17 p.m. Pacific on the 12th, but it was early morning for us here in the Eastern time zone. So Mars and Venus, we had this week Saturn went retrograde on Monday. And then tomorrow, Jupiter goes retrograde in Capricorn sign. So today we have Mars in Pisces. Let's talk about Mars in Pisces a little bit. So Mars is the energy of our drive. It's how we move forward in our lives. It's where we are ambitious. It is the engine that moves our careers. It's where we see activity happen that can bring positive events and manifestation. It can bring accidents and upheaval. It can bring war, or it can bring culmination of our desires. And so interestingly, our desires are ruled by Venus. So the fact that Venus did a movement that appears to be pulling back energy and Mars shifted signs, the two together means that we have completely shifted and changed the dynamic between feminine energy and masculine energy. And that means that Venus now, she's in Gemini, so she is going back over something that she may have said, some thoughts she's had about what she truly desires. It may not be what she really does desire. Maybe she was going through Gemini talking about this is gonna happen. And when I say she, I mean her influence. And her influence is feminine. Her influence is receptive. Her influence is, it manifests in desire. And so in the sign of Gemini, she is talkative and chatty. She goes and finds what she wants to express thought-wise. I'm just going to tell you about a chat room. Hopefully that's okay. A comment: finding gratitude and appreciation in the moment or in what is happening is helpful, in as fear and gratitude cannot exist in the same space. And that is so true. Anyway, it's really an awesome comment. And, you know, they always say you can't find the solution from the energy and perspective of the problem. So hopefully if you do a little meditation or thinking about that, that'll help you right now going through what we're going through. So having Mars in Pisces means that we are taking this energy, this drive, and moving it forward towards Piscean endeavors. Pisces endeavors are finding a connection to spirit, expressing a broader spirituality, one that connects us to the universal energy. It is about finding a connection to your creative side, your artistic side, your expressive side through an intuition or through channeling even. You can understand things in a broader sense through inspiration that comes through, which is very Piscean. It is a time where, not gonna lie, you're gonna probably feel more tired. The energy of Pisces, it connects to us, and this is interesting. I'm gonna just take a quick sip of water here, if I can find it. Pardon me. So Pisces wants to connect us to the higher understanding. I watch a lot of spiritual videos, meaning psychics and mediums, channelers, things like that on YouTube. And there are a few of them who I start to watch, and if I'm in a comfortable position, the energy just puts me to sleep. It makes me so drowsy, and I fight to stay awake to watch these videos because the vibration is so much higher. It works on our minds and it works on our bodies. It's a kind of a phenomena I've noticed when I do Reiki on people, and even myself. If I'm doing Reiki, it really calms you and makes you drowsy. And it's kind of a phenomenon associated with the vibrational level. So when we watch people who are of a higher vibrational frequency and channeling higher energy, that energy comes in. It could be their vibration has raised to meet spiritual energies that we can't see, or those spiritual energies and entities like archangels and spirit guides come down and they have a vibration that really mellows us out. And so when we go to that other mindset, we are able to bring in a closer connection and contact with energies that are not in the physical material plane, but in an energetic higher vibration. And so whenever we have Pisces planets, that is the modality where we gain information and we gain understanding. So right now we have Mars and Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, in the sign of Pisces. And Mars moving into Pisces brings an active energy around this calming quality that Pisces brings. Pisces energy brings in higher energies spiritually, and we have to connect to them. So the easiest way with the human mind, the human ego, is to go into that higher vibration and calmness. So when we have this Mars activity in the calming energy of Pisces, we can get drowsier. We just get into that mellowness, that acceptance, receptive mindset. And then we're able to really connect into those higher understandings and the intuitions. So if you feel that right now, it's completely expected. The other thing going on before I move on to Venus is that Mercury is now in Gemini, or I think Mercury is in Gemini. Let me double check that. Mercury, where are you? Yeah, Mercury went into Gemini late April. So Mercury is in Gemini in early degrees and in a square to the energy of Mars now, or, you know, wide square. And so that means that currently we probably are going to be feeling this almost Mercury retrograde energy, that it's really going to affect us like a Mercury retrograde. And that means electronics can act up. I know my computer freezes and nothing comes through. My daughter's phone had a blank screen this morning. So you can get things like that, anomalies. You can, I mean, I texted something and it changes what I text to something that is completely non sequitur in the context of the sentence. It's just like, why would it put in roses with a T at the end instead of rules which is what I dictated, because Mercury and Mars are kind of in conflict right now. The way we're moving is to that energetic, emotive plane. And Mercury is very much in the higher vibrational mental clarity, it's air energy, and it lacks the water, the moisture in the air. And so they don't combine well right now, because the modalities that each planet are dealing with are not in the same area of element. So that energy is going on that way. Yeah, so Mercury is at 3 degrees of Gemini, and the sun is at 23 Taurus today. And I'm just going to tell you where the planets are, and then I'll get to Venus. So sun is at 23 Taurus, Uranus is at 7 Taurus. We've got Neptune at 20 Pisces, and he is in square to Venus today also, which we'll get to. Mars is at 0 degrees and 18 minutes of Pisces, and Moon is at 12 degrees of Aquarius, which I swear it was just there, but it's awesome because I really enjoy the Aquarian energy, having a lot of Uranus and Aquarius in my chart. Saturn at 1 degree of Aquarius, he went retrograde, so now he's going to be moving back. He's only 1 degree and almost to 2. He's 57 minutes, so he's almost 2 degrees of Aquarius, and he'll retrograde. I believe he gets back into Aquarius, or excuse me, Capricorn in early July, like July 3rd. So he's going back. Then we have Jupiter at 27 degrees of Capricorn. He goes retrograde, like I said, tomorrow. And Pluto at 24 degrees of Capricorn retrograde last week. He retrograded. And so we have all these planets that are at bitter ends and very early beginnings. They're going retrograde. They're shifting signs. And so it's a lot of movement and a lot of different energy coming in for us to understand and integrate and embrace in our lives. Definitely, you know, now it's interesting because this is the week of all the retrogrades, and this is really when they're pushing to open things back up. We've got a few months, quite a few months actually, of the retrograde motion of the planets. Saturn doesn't go direct until late September. Jupiter goes direct, I believe, early December, and Saturn changes back into Aquarius December 5th. So there's a lot of time over the summer that we are going to be really renovating the energy of the collective, which I mean, you shut down a world, that's a collective energy. So the Aquarian energy, just specifically today with the moon at 12 degrees going to probably like 19, 20 by midnight, and then Saturn moving back. They're both in Aquarius today, but the moon is now past Saturn, so her emotions are free flowing, so to speak. She's not answering to the moon at this point. Overnight she did, when she went, actually probably late last night before we even went to bed, she was joined with Saturn, and now she's beyond Saturn, so she's making her way to the end of Aquarius and to connect up with Mars in Pisces in a couple days. So she's really going forward saying, wow, this energy is very clear, my emotions are clear, I'm not really attached emotionally to too much, I'm looking for solutions. It's a really great couple days for science, for technology. We're going to be hearing more about maybe the advancement of the vaccine and what's going on with the virus, and you know, really technology as well. I've been having technological dreams. I was dreaming about the space shuttle and a spaceship that was related to NASA. Just a couple of days ago, I thought, wow, this is really a clear scientific, you know, sciencey dream. Excuse me. And so, yeah, Jupiter going retrograde. Jupiter is going to be going back, I think there may be questioning about whether or not kids should go back to school when Jupiter goes retrograde, because Jupiter does rule higher education and education. It rules spiritual growth, but it's in Capricorn, and it's about the tangible structure that we can touch. And so there is probably going to be more dabbling with getting kids back in school over the summer and into the fall. When Jupiter goes back direct and gets into Aquarius at the end of the year, we're probably going to go back to online education. I definitely see the end of the year with Saturn in Aquarius again, and Jupiter joining Saturn in Aquarius. It is really the push, the last major push before Pluto goes into Aquarius in 2024 and 2025, that shows us we are shifting the energy to a different paradigm. The paradigm, and I'll lay it out. I know I've said it a few shows, a few podcasts, but the paradigm is Capricorn is hierarchical. In other words, we give our power over to a figurehead who then is supposed to act on behalf of the collective. And there are different levels of authority within the hierarchy. Aquarius is more of a flattened playing field. Everybody is equal. Everyone is level, like Saturn and Aquarius and everyone holding up in their houses. We're all having to understand where we're at now. And, we have to shift energy. We're using the internet, technology, very Aquarian. We are doing online school, online work, networking, a very big Aquarius thing. We're all finding each other on the internet. Collective Zoom calls where Some Good News with John Krasinski, having everybody from the office on the video. It is a collective mindset that we're shifting towards. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again for new people. Aquarius is kind of like a precursor to Pisces. Pisces breaks down all barriers, and we are emotionally intuitive and collective as a group of people and humans on this plane. Aquarius gets us into the mindset and the idea of understanding people from their mindsets. And then when we hit Pisces, when Saturn goes into Pisces in a couple of years, it comes down into the emotions, and we really feel other people's pain. We're much more empathic. Right now, we are connecting to more of an intellectual understanding of how people move and the science of our physiology, maybe even how our bodies are connected or our mindsets are connected. When we raise our vibration to a collective understanding intellectually, and we move forward into the Pisces energy, and it brings us into our heart. And then we truly embrace and integrate the understanding of what we're really going through. So having Jupiter in Capricorn, and also Saturn will be going retrograde back into Capricorn come June and through the rest of the year through December. We're going to have Mars in Aries, and the Mars in Aries will be ultimately, not right away, but towards the end of the year, squaring that Capricorn. And that's really kind of like a final push for us to get out of having to push towards duty, the Capricorn idea of duty or fear of things falling apart if we don't do it. And then moving on to the Aquarian energy, it is a self energy. It is a self-aware energy, but it is a very humanitarian energy. In its negative side, it can be a bit more contrary, because Aquarius wants to show you, it's kind of like a mirror being held up and show you where you're not necessarily paying attention to your own hypocrisy. And then the other side is we're very embracing of the collective. So we're going from the hierarchy to the level playing field, but within the playing field, within the machine, is the individual. Everyone is an individual, and everyone has their own purpose within the collective. And the moon today is very aware of the collective because he's in Aquarius, or she, excuse me. Oh my goodness, Keller. The moon is a feminine energy and a feminine planet in a masculine energy planet, light. And going into Pisces, which is very feminine, very emotive, very sensitive and soft and loving and embracing, universally loving. It's agape love, agape. So the nodes, the south node is at 29 degrees Sagittarius. The north node is at 29 Gemini. This is a fated moment around the collective mindset around education and understanding children on the Gemini side and higher collective spiritual growth on the South Node Sagittarius side. So because the Sagittarius energy brings in more of the collective people from other countries and our understanding of people of other cultures, sorry about that, we're going to bring in our, expunge really the past energy of how we've treated other cultures. So I do see it as pretty positive, even though South Node can bring in the ugly side of things and the past that we haven't gotten over yet, where we need to grow. The North Node, Gemini, is about where we're heading and how we can transmute the energy that may have been negative or holding us back. I do see that children are going to be pushed to the fore. Child's issues, educational issues, probably energy around how kids are treated within an educational environment will be a very strong focus as we head through this energy. It'll take 1.5 years, but especially in about 1.5 years, we will really see how we need to change our mindsets. And because of how the energy is moving forward and the children who have come in around the millennium and everything after that, we are really paying attention to what children have to teach us just through their perspective. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that's definitely the positive side of Gemini, dissemination of information and connectiveness to children and children's issues. Then we have Venus in Gemini, retrograde. So Venus in Gemini is bringing through the energy of intellectual understanding and awareness. Venus is the desire. Gemini is the expression of what we understand to be true, but it's also bringing it forth in a broadcast way, in a communicative way to the collective. And so when we have planets go through Gemini, we want to express who we are. We want to be seen. We want to be communicative and social. So Gemini can be a very social sign. Venus in Gemini, she's a gadabout. She wants to go from place to place and really engage with people and find out information. And she can use that information and disseminate it in ways that sometimes aren't always truthful, because it's a duality sign. It means this and that. So she can say this, but then, ends up we don't follow through with what is said. And so it can be very dualistic. And I'll leave it at that. That's a nice word for what it is. So Venus is beauty and love and money. And duality in love and money means we have more than one lover. We have more than one person we may be interested in. Our minds cannot sit still long enough to stay the course. So we will see a bit of fickle quality with Venus. She is answering to Mercury in Gemini now. And so Mercury rules Gemini. Venus in his sign means that she is all about that domain. It's women in education. It's friends, female friends who can teach us things. And retrograde means she is reviewing what has just happened with how she treats desire, how she treats education, how she treats her communication. It can bring us into the realm of broadcasting and podcasting and videos. All of that is covered by the Gemini energy. Venus may have us wanting to do those things. Retrograde is an altering, a changing, a review of those entities, those areas and fields. It is also contracts, negotiation, training. If you are looking to get into training or are receiving training, this is a time for it. It's travel and small pets. Venus retrograde, especially in the days that she retrogrades, there may be issues with our small animals or our pets. So pay attention to them, especially with the Mars in Pisces. And there's a trigger going on with Mars in Pisces. It means that there is a deep emotional, intuitive connection to our animals and to the collective. Our pets can actually take some of the energy that we have, if we're in illness, they can come around us knowing something's wrong and pull out some of the negative energy from our lives. That may mean that they are not feeling well and that they have taken on some of the karmic energy that we have that would otherwise have created illness and disease in our lives. So be really good to your pets. I have 2 cats, so they're very near and dear to me, and I call them people too. My daughter wonders why I do that, but I do, because to me that they have personalities, they have desires and energies that make them similar to us in that way, and so infinitely unconditionally loving. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up what I've been wanting to express to you this week. And if you have more interest in getting your own reading done, you can find me at Angelic Zodiac and both my website, angeliczodiac.com, and also on Facebook. Instagram is Angelic Zodiac 1. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, if you want to check out my art, go to shelleyoverton.com. And I look forward to seeing you here again next week. Thanks so much for joining me, and take care.